Hello Sagittarius, how are you doing? It is me, Lauren B. Welcome back to the Untitled Tarot. For those of you who are familiar with my work, I normally pull a lot of cards. So what my guides are having me do is really nail that in, maybe nail in the point that I don't need so many cards. So we're gonna do shorter card readings, fewer card readings. A bunch of the signs only got one card. You have three. You have the most out of everyone. So that's exciting. You have a 3-card read. We're using the Mystical Shaman Oracle, which I am loving. It's new here. It's new to me. I wasn't going to pull it out till the Element and Design readings, but here we are. But it is a treat. I've seen it on Santaro's channel for a long time. So I'm very excited to have it and work with it myself. So Sagittarius, I feel like you have been in a similar energy to the rest of the group, where there's been a big sense of maybe stagnancy, really wanting to get a roll on things, feeling a little stuck, a little in place, kind of pushing. Like there's a sense that you keep pushing ahead, but you're continually meeting like a lot of resistance in whatever it is for you. And so I think this is the breakthrough, Sagittarius. I think you feel in a way as you're like out of options. You're like, I don't know what else to do in this situation. I don't know how else to fix it. Like, I don't know what I can say, what I can change, what do I have to do to like get some fluidity here, right? Or it's almost like you even just want like a finality. Like if you can't get this situation to move, you want to know if it's like a dead end, so that way you can just like cut it off a little bit. I think it's making you feel a little on the defensive, right? Almost a little bit like just assuming, because it's not flowing right now, whatever it is for you, it's very general, that it's not going to, like it won't change necessarily for the better, but you keep trying. You keep trying, and that's good. That's really good. We love that kind of tenacity around here. Yes, we do. So the first card that you have out is card number 57, the Time Master. I stared and I walked inside this card for a very long time. And it actually led me to pull more cards. I think that this is very representative of an ancestor for you, a spirit guide, your higher self, maybe one of your angels, but this is somebody that's been poking around you for a while, Saggy, and I don't think you've noticed. I think Sagittarius are very intuitive. They're the philosophers as such. So going into other realms, dimensions, ascensions, levels of awareness, right? That's not uncommon for a Sagittarius. It doesn't really like freak them out. They're like Scorpios in that sense. Like they don't mind getting a little dark and going to different places. But I think if there are guides, ancestors, parts of your spirit team, right, that you are connected with, I think this is an aspect that is, maybe it is your highest of self, perhaps, but is not something that you are aware of is so strongly in your presence, right? So something that really stuck out to me was, one, he has 2 feathers right here. And then it's almost like this headdress of fire. And I kept thinking that he looked sort of like a dinosaur, right? Like these were like the little like spiky thing. And then I was like, dinosaur. So I was like looking around for which dinosaur this was, and I couldn't find it. I kept getting like historic. And then it's like his beard, it's like kind of woven, it's kind of wavy, and it reminded me of one of those fish that has like all the gills and they're all like right here. And I was thinking like prehistoric, like water. I was like, it's like all of this ancient energy. And so I don't know if perhaps in your dream state you've been going through like your Akashic records, or you recently connected with your ancestors and you're getting downloads, you're getting information about, past lives, things that have happened in your family. There's like an age as old as time kind of feeling there. And I think what's happening is you might not be realizing it, but especially if you're feeling really like tired lately, I think that you are getting light code integration. Like you are getting downloads. Like there are pieces of the puzzle for you that are coming in, dots that are connecting while in sort of like your unconscious state that you're not aware is happening to you. And then I feel like you might be having, it's a fly. I'm sorry. I think you're having these like sudden like epiphany moments, or like eureka or light bulb moments. That all of a sudden you're like, huh, that's what that was. All right. You're like, oh, that's why I do that. It's like these sudden things, and you're like, how come I never realized that before? But it's almost like, I did reading in it. It was, for them, it was like the lines are clear. It was like your lines, everything was like a little bit blurry and fuzzy. And you know, when I was driving home from work, I was like, there feels like there's something in my eye. It feels like there's something in my eye. Like, I don't know what it is, but so it feels like your eyes have been a little bit cloudy, like cataracts you had. And maybe that was before you reached this level of ascension that perhaps you hit or really kind of culminated for you with the start of Leo season. But it feels like as that's happening, your eyes have become like clearer, right? It's almost like you've gotten your cataracts removed. And now it's like you can finally see this time master. Because this is somebody that, again, can go through space and time, dimensions, levels of awareness, and also levels of perceptivity. Like, they can, this guide, whatever this is for you, can choose how strongly it wants to be noticed, right? Like, it comes like a little breeze, and you're like, huh, or like a weird number, and you're like, or, you know, or a bang on the wall or something audible. There's something like that. Like they can choose the volume at which they want to be heard at a specific time. But it feels like now they're really turning it up. Behind these feathers, it almost looks like there's a clock right here. There's a clock right here. And so what if the feather was the time dial, it would be 11, and that's not quite 6, so that'd be 5. So that would be 11, 5, 11, 5, 115. 115. Okay, look, and so 7 and 5, that is 12, which breaks down to 3, and there's an 8 on your chest. So 3 and 8, that's 11. So 115 and 11. So those might be like angel numbers for you. That is really coming through strongly for me, so I feel like I have to tell you because I'm into numerology, but some of you might be, and 11s are master numbers. 5s are numbers of change. So you could be seeing 15, 51, 11, 115. You could be seeing like that kind of thing a lot. You might want to look into that for yourself. But there is like a sense of divine timing. And this is almost like, it almost feels like a wheel of fortune. And it's like, ding, like chicken's done. It's like, it's time. Like you've hit this point. Now, Sagittarius, like it's almost, I'm almost getting that a lot of the resistance you were feeling was a test of your commitment and tenacity to whatever this was. It could just be like your own personal self-growth process, but there's something in it, and it's finally like, oh no, Sagittarius, like it's time. Like you hit the right growth, you hit the right development, like your alignment is where it needs to be in order for you to be able to connect all these dots and figure out all of this stuff and be like more of a open receptacle for information, for these downloads from your guides. I think in particular about like the next step, the next piece of your puzzle, the next step you make on your blueprint, right? It could be information about more of your past life, ancestral history, in order to help guide you a little bit further along your path in what areas you need to work on more healing and what areas you really need to kind of capitalize on, not necessarily in a monetary sense, but in the sense of like honing those skills and honing those abilities. My next card you have out is 64. So that breaks down to a 10. It's another 1, right? And it's the Witness. And this is how I see, how's it over here? Yeah, this is how it looks on my board. And this is how I see you, Sag, right? So it's like very intergalactic over here. You have the sun and the moon. It's that duality. Even this symbol on his chest, right? It's 2 arrows pointing, or 2 triangles rather, arrows. Might be, because there's a lot of native, I feel like you guys are getting so much, my brain is like, ah! Like my brain's in hyperdrive. So yours might be too. It's okay, Sag. Let's bring it down. So, I am picking up like a lot of, and I think it's because of the ancestral things. A lot of you might have, or some of you might have like Native American history, because I am picking up like even like on his chest, like all of this. It's like, and there's like a little wind. It's like the colors of the wind. It's like Pocahontas. It's like there's like a Native American. I know, don't. It's just there's like a Native American aspect going on here, or it could be just because it is so ancient, like back to earth, right? Because these 2 symbols on his chest, they're 2 triangles. And if one was pointing up, that would be air. And if one was pointing down, that would be earth energy. So it's like the clock, almost like moving heaven and earth, Like this entity, this could be just pure source energy as it is, right? This could just be God, your God, being able to move like heaven and earth, like in infinity, like throughout all of these cycles, right? Throughout divine timing, throughout fortunate times and less fortuitous times, sort of thing. And it's like now they're kind of looking at you, or they're letting you know that they're looking at you, and you're like kind of noticing them too. So like your abilities might be a little different, or you might be feeling more sensitive in general, energetically, emotionally, physically, right? You could be having like physical body pains. I'm getting like a lot of body pains. But it's very like intergalactic over here, like I was saying. And this is very earthy. This is like very kind of 3D, right? Very fall. Again, a lot of us are coming out of a drier season, a stretching season where we feel like we've just been like pushing forward, but like a little bit like there's a mountain in front of us. Like we're trying to push against something that's a little bit too big. And now your guide, your angel, your God, your higher self, your ancestors are kind of popping up and being like, okay, Sagittarius, it's time to kick things up a notch. Like we're about to move the mountain. My ears just started ringing. Your ears might be ringing. We're about to move the mountain. And it's like, please step aside while we move the mountain, right? And I'm getting like marching, and it's like not even, it's like this one is leading the pack, but there's more support. There's more spiritual support coming like directly behind it. But this is like this is the main one. And I feel like you have an X card out, it's the staff, but I almost see like the pounding of a staff, and as it does it like activates the chain of the spiritual help, of the downloads, of the blueprint start going into activation. This is a different kind of read, Saggy. Stay with me. But that's exactly what it feels like. So before that happens, this is like the meeting point, the weird dream, the download, that like, dots kind of come together, like things kind of click in where you're just like folding laundry and you're like, interesting. Okay, like this is that meeting point right here. And it's interesting because on one hand, she has this third eye, and I feel like it's you sort of kind of like reaching out for more guidance, reaching out for more healing, like reaching out for forgiveness, you know, after repentance, like whatever it is for you, like just like reaching out for answers, like the continued reaching. And as you did that, it requires a lot of faith, and it requires a lot of trust in yourself, in God, in the universe, in the process, right? And faith is the most important thing to have, right? It's like pure hope energy, right? And I feel like it burns so big and so bright that it like extended your intuition. It like set out almost like a bat signal, like through time and space, through other dimensions, I suppose. And it kind of like finally like lit up. It finally hit this one, and they're like, oh, okay, Sag is in the right alignment, Sag is reaching, they're ready, like let's go in. And I see here, it's like these antlers, right? All this earth energy, you in the 3D. And antlers are very indicative of cycles, life cycles, relationship cycles, years and years and years. I think each antler represents like 5 or 10 years, something like that. And it's really cool because on the one, there's like one little feather hanging, right? He's got two. She's got like one little feather you've got hanging over here. It's almost like you've earned a wing. You earned like an angel. And see, he has two. It's like 2 wings, full spirit energy. This does not feel like, it could be a 3D person. Maybe if we were to apply this to 3D, like maybe this is a mentor of yours. This could be like a business mentor, a creative mentor that you have, and you finally, you know, were persistent enough or put something out there enough times or did something that got you noticed by this one, right? So we could apply it to a 3D. It feels like a very spiritual person, but maybe they do yoga. I don't know their business. Moving on. Moving on, Sagittarius. But it's very interesting. And like I said, as you kind of reach out with your intuition, that pure hope, faith, trust energy, it illuminates this one, right? And what does it do? It's like the sun and the moon. It reflects that light, those downloads, that information right back to you. And it's almost as though it overtakes your 3D self, like almost in the sense that you are going to start walking more authentically, like in your higher self. Like your higher self will become more of your inner self. Your higher self will be more integrated with your inner self, so it won't always be like you're looking up, like, ugh. It'll be like you'll just kind of have, I think it's about building a lot of trust in your intuition. You had to do that too, right? Perhaps there was a certain amount of isolation, a certain amount of like drying out. Perhaps like maybe you like a little drink, like a little smoke, hang shaky, and you kind of, maybe you scaled some of that back, wondering like how it would affect your intuition. Is it the thing I like? Is this a codependency? Something like that, right? It's like you cut out a lot of things in like loyalty, or like in pursuit of this. It's like in pursuit of ascension. Like, I don't know, maybe that's what we'll call it. But as you reflect over to them, they immediately, in response, as the universe does, reflect right back to you, and it starts changing, almost like you might feel like some tingling, like when you think about something, or you get into like that kind of disassociated, like zone out kind of phase. You might feel like tingling, like right here around your head, around your crown chakra, right? Kind of over your third eye, like a little tickle. They want me to tell you, okay? But there might be something like that, but it's almost like it's changing your DNA. That is a little galactic stuff. I don't know if we have enough time and space to go into that right now, but there's schools of thought. I'm not the headmaster at any of these schools, but there's schools of thought that say pure source energy, DNA, came to Earth, and when it came to Earth, the genomes, the chromosomes got shortened, right? And that's why we have things like our ego, and we have all of these things. And that the more ascended you become, it's almost as though like you lengthen or you repair like your spiritual DNA. It's a thing. I'm just information, food for thought. I don't know, but that seems like a little bit of what's happening over here. It's kind of like changing your spiritual like bio makeup. There's a lot of science in this. Maybe you guys like sci-fi, I don't know. But it's also like changing the way that you feel, and the way you do things, and the way you approach things, just the way you move in general. It's changing like your physical makeup as well. It's very fascinating. And I stared at these two cards for a very, 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 very long time. Oh, also, it's like this clock. Also, it's almost like it's right over your heart too. It's almost like they throw it down, like almost like they're gonna give you like closer ideas about divine timing, like when it may come in, or like when certain events are gonna happen. It's a little bit like they're gonna give you the secret sauce. Like they're gonna give you a little bit of the recipe to the secret sauce. Like you're gonna get more heads up about things. That's kind of what I'm garnering from this. But I was looking at these for a really long time, and I was just gonna use these, but it was bugging me, and I was like, but what's it all about? I was like, what's it all mean, guys? And so I had to pull one more card. I just had to, because I'm just insatiable like that. I have a moon in Sagittarius, so you know me, girl. Or boy, everyone's welcome. But I pulled out this card, and I was like, of course, it's card number 51. It's the staff. The staff, right? So it's like, I get it's a passing of the torch. It's another piece to your puzzle. It's another assignment in your light work. It's passing you the torch somehow. It's like an activation. It's some kind of like activation. Maybe it's some Blu-ray stuff, some Indigo Child activation, whatever it may be for you. I feel like you're all in different galaxies as far as I can feel right now. But on the one side, it's like, it's the moon, and it almost looks like a little key. And I'm almost just like the key to the secret. It's like you're gonna get like to look like behind the curtain a little bit at like the great and powerful Oz. There's something to that. And as I stared at this staff, I was like, what is this? And it almost looks like a beetle, like the magic works through you, like beetle, spirit, animal energy, which you know we love here. But then I looked at it, and also I was like, this looks like a feather, like one feather with long dark hair coming off of it. It's like they're gonna give you this mission, they're gonna give you this download, they're gonna give you this piece of the puzzle, and it's gonna be your job, because as we say, especially these days, we have to do things in practice, not just in principle. It's not just something to know a piece of the information, you actually have to walk it out. We walk it out. And in this case, we're climbing up the staff, a little bit like a gym class rope, right? But as we do that, with all this beetle imagery coming towards me as well, it is that there's magic to this. The magic works through you. And if you look even closer, there's like a little red ribbon tied around you, and it's attached to like this little stem. And it doesn't, for me, look like it's coming out of the staff itself. It looks like it's like attached to you. It's like a little fairy or like a little angel or a little something. It's just like, you may think through this process as it may be arduous, that like you're climbing, you're huffing and puffing it all the way up there on your own. But in reality, it's like you're actually being like lifted, like helicopter lifted, sky lifted, air lifted, air lifted. You're being air lifted up this staff a little bit. And if you look at the staff, it's braided. So it's like as you go up, like you can stick your feet in like the little nits and bits and like be air lifted up, right? It's almost like holding on to the back of a little kid's bicycle and being like, you're doing it, you're doing it. It's kind of like that. It's actually really, really sweet energy. But again, now we're back to the antlers. It's like new cycles, new growth. Like we're going backward and we're going forwards at the same time, Sagittarius. It's really, really very, very interesting. You guys are probably having some crazy ass dreams. So have fun with that. Me too. Me too. So this was your little freaky galactic read. It's like you were a Scorpio this week. I hope that you enjoyed it. I know normally we don't pull this few cards and we don't get so spacey, but that's the way that the cookie crumbles this week, Sag. So I love you endlessly. All the information you should need from me, all the decks I use, my email, all that stuff's in the description box. Thank you so much for letting me read this for you. It was super fun. I feel like I could like go on into these cards, but then we'd never get out of here. So I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend and take care of yourselves. It looks like you're in for a wild ride. Good one. A little spacey though, so put on your helmet. I'll see you later, Sag. Bye.